what happened to our Honorable CS Linturi. You know, when became a CS, we can only see a former shelf of him. He knows how we operate here. And Chair, you know, why we are here today and why Kenyans are waiting just to hear how did we get the so-called fake, whether it's fertilizer, now I've had another new name. How did we get there? How do we get out of there? The farmers who have been, who have bought this fertilizer, how do we compensate? You see what he has done? He's just gone the civil servant way. He's answered our questions one by one. Even the PS is not here. We're almost falling asleep. There's nothing much that the CS is telling us. So, Chair, my request is this. Can we get serious? I know the expert, we have said he has an expert with KEFIS here. He's also going to come with the scientific words and everything else, and we'll get lost somewhere. So, Chair, the biggest question is this. How did we get here? How are we going to get out of here? And I think that is why it should be as brief as that. Yeah. He has given a long and lengthy explanation, Chair, but it's just a very simple question. Did we monitor what we gave? Are we compensating? How do we make sure that we don't get back there? Are our farmers safe? We have seen all these things in the media. I would say there's that sense at the African media, whatever it was, God sent. I have also not seen the communication between the two. So as he answers and he gets the expert to answer us, Kenyans just want to know, Chair, in very simple terms, because I'm afraid when the experts start talking, he might also come with jargons of fertilizers and words and confuse us more. Is that how did we get here as a country? How do we get ourselves out of it? Are we going to compensate our farmers? As simple as that, Chair. So that we even know who colluded with these suppliers. Are they going to be arrested? Will they be taken to court? Do we even know who the officers are? So as simple as that, so that we don't really go into the civil servant way with a lot of long stories, but at the end of the day, we are not going to go anywhere, Chair. And that is just a concern as they prepare to answer. Yeah, please, CS, remember you're also on this side one day, and you know the questions that Kenyans have. Don't take us round. What you have done in just the way the civil servants answer questions, and then you have done it, then you go.
Chair, has read a report from his team.
Chair,
we are still going to interrogate the
supplementary.
Yeah.
You know, my sister here was asking me which professor are we talking about. I've told her the Professor Theophilus and a professor of fertilizer. What actually Sabina is talking about is we need very straightforward and candid discussion on the matter of fertilizer. Number one, how did fake fertilizer end up in NCBB stores? What you've answered is how the fertilizer itself, but we are talking about the fake fertilizer, the SPL Innovate fertilizer. How did it get into the NCBB stores? The gel, what do you call, chemical fertilizer, the fake ones. You've told us that you signed a contract, the NCBB signed a contract with the SPL Innovate in 2022, that is on 31st March 2022, which is almost two years now. And then also in the same note, you've said every year you take samples to ascertain whether the fertilizer we have is okay or not. Now we've gotten ourselves into a quagmire of fake fertilizer. The samples for last year, are we able to know whether did you do the annual surveillance and what was the report on annual surveillance, whether the fake fertilizer was there or not? Or this fake fertilizer, when did it start? When did the rain start beating us on the issue of the fake fertilizer? So what we are asking is, how did the fake fertilizer end up in NCBB stores? Because, you know, a farmer will go to NCBB stores and trust that whatever is being sold in NCBB store is genuine and certified. Unlike maybe outside shops where you may doubt. But when you go to an NCBB store today, and you go and buy something there, people will know that I'm going to the right place. It's just like I'm going to buy seeds at Kenya Seed. I'll know I'm buying genuine and certified seeds, unlike when I'm buying at the back street there. So we want to know, how did this fake fertilizer end up in NCBB stores?
Point of order, Chair.
Because I was on a point of order. Just 1 minute, Chair. Because I was on a point of order, he didn't allow me to finish.
Okay.
So, you can also not come and tell us the shortcomings of that KEFIS. And we have an act that is as old as 2012. We are in 2024. If they came here and said, we want you to assist us with 1, 2, 3, don't just tell us the shortcomings. I've seen, I don't know how many staff members. Is he also even proposing that in this committee that we need to amend or help them with the regulations? So those are the, I think we need to talk about real things, Chair. If I'm allowed, we can put away these questions and let's have a conversation. And I think that is the best approach. Let's have a conversation instead of this question number 1 was this, question number 2 was this. And even the other question you can ask the CS, do you have other information that you think is important for ourselves and also even for Kenyans that we may know, because we may have missed it in our questions. So let's not just do this reading question 1, question 2, but let's have the conversation so that we save Kenyans and we know how to get ourselves out of here.
Honourable members, I think we are jumping the gun. We were going to have a conversation with the CS. He has made his presentation. We will dissect the presentation, and we should get the answers from him, from the questions that we are going to ask from now on. So probably I would like us to be a bit orderly. Let him respond to your point of order, whether from now on you are going to react to the issues that are there. And of course we shall ask you the questions that pertain to the issues that are ongoing right now. Then I think we'd like to be a little bit more orderly by taking a few more, then we can probably respond to the point of order, Honourable CS, and that of the Vice Chair.
Chairman, let me say that, I'm open to discussion, and I'm always willing and ready to share any information that I have. And I know, just like Sabina has put it correctly, that Kenyans are waiting for an answer. So if we leave this meeting without really telling them what it is, we will really not have answered or met their expectation. So if we were to discuss things generally without really having to go to deal with the issues of the questions, then we would be able to be more forthright, more open. But when Brighton and my friend asked about fake fertilizer, when you look at these questions, there is nothing like a question on fake fertilizer. So I cannot answer questions which are not been asked. With a lot of respect, there is nothing. So unless if you really wanted me to mention about that story, which I can't because I don't know what you really wanted to interrogate through this question. But if we were to really say this is a conversation between the ministry and a team that gives us support, you want us to share openly because we mean well for our people, it becomes very, 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 very easy. So, Chairman, I do not have a problem. If there is any, I am a very honest and very straightforward person when it comes to issues of public interest. And I am ready to give information without really even being forced to. But because the responsibility of ensuring that we have enough food in the country based on the president and I as the person running that docket, and you, because you are also representatives of the people, and when there is no food, you really have to work out ways of trying to really support our people. So our engagement on how we can do it better, I am ready.
Okay. Thank you very much. You are ready. Now let's be systematic. And this letter was written after the expose, before a lot of fake fertilizer was found its way in the market, and many people now open their eyes to it. So I think we will have to ask questions as it were now. I will ask Honorable let him answer alongside Honorable Kiplagat and Kibagendi.
Chair, thank you. As I sit here, I represent the constituency that consumes the most fertilizer, in fact more than 90% of all the other counties, and I can see from the figures So far, soy has consumed around 115,000 bags, which is just 30%. We are still waiting for more consignments. Chair, you remember at the floor of the House, I was particularly concerned on the slow distribution of the fertilizer that was happening. But I'm a worried man on the presentation of the CS, and I wish CS was actually on our side, because there are two facts, PS. One of it, why we are here, is because of the SPL Innovate, which I've also seen they have come with capital, 51 capital. Maybe we shall know which one is which. And the fact is, from the presentation of KEPS, what is on the back as the nutrients and what was tested is different. That's a fact. What they are selling, the composition of what they are selling, and the composition that the license was given for the organic fertilizer is different. That's a fact. The second fact is that which has come from the ministry on your last press release, is that NPK 102610, that is from Kale Chemicals. We don't know the company that was supplied. We have not seen Kale Chemicals from the suppliers. Maybe you will tell us which company is that. Was actually, from the presentation, that fertilizer is fake. You know, even from the last press release released by the ministry itself, and legal action has been from the last release was supposed to be taken. Those are fundamental facts that we need. As this committee we are sitting, we need to know how did we end here. The other stories we can leave it for the presentation when you write. So on those facts, I want to ask the following. First is on the distribution. You know, PS, we are in a crisis. From the North Rift, we are supposed to be planting the latest by 10th, which is just 2 days from, is it 2 days from now? The rains have been magnanimous enough. After for the last 3 days, it has not rained for purposes of us trying to finish. But we find out that there are not enough fertilizer in some areas, especially the North Rift. We don't know what mechanism. We want to know the mechanism the ministry used to distribute the fertilizer, so that we end up to a situation whereby farmers have been queuing and there is no fertilizer. Up to now, we still have challenges. We know that you are saying there is a consignment that is coming, and our worry is, and the data is known by the ministry, our farmers, the last day they need to plant is on 10th. If it extends so much, maybe on 15th. Anything else, they'll result in the low production, or in terms of production, and it will really affect the food security. So that is one. Secondly, on the issue of substandard fertilizer, it's a bit sad that we have two important authorities that are supposed to guard us against that. We have KEPS, which is actually the universal in terms of product quality, and then we have KEFIS, which actually deals with our agricultural inputs. Now, the fact, CS, the fact is, SPL Innovate, that fertilizer, the soil composition or soil conditioner, we have a problem. KEPS have proved through tests that what they were given for them to be given license is different from what is being sold, and they have withdrawn. So we want to know, how did we get here? Whom do we pin? Do we pin KEPS because of the monitoring and supervision, or do we pin NCPP because they are also supposed to do quality? They have a quality assurance. Is it quality what? quality assurance department which are supposed to look at that. And we really want to know from 2022 up to now, how much of this, do you say soil conditioner or fertilizer, whichever it is, how much has been sold? So those are facts that we need to get ourselves in. And lastly, on the issue of subsidized fertilizer, I wish we could not have gotten any fake subsidized fertilizer, but because we are there, we need to know this scale green, because they were blending, it is a blending a blending factory. What was the initial capacity they were able to produce, and in terms of what they were awarded? We want to know, last year they were awarded how many bags? This year they are awarded how many bags? Because I sense if they were able to produce maybe for calculative purposes, maybe their production is 50,000 bags per year, and you give somebody to supply 700,000 bags per year within 1 month. That is why he ended up collecting manure, fertilizer, and trying to package, and he didn't know how to granulize, and that is why we are in that mess. So we really want to know, and I think CS, we have a problem, and the best way is for you to join our side so that we can know really what happened, because in terms of proving that there's a problem that has happened, there's a problem that has happened. How did we get there? Thank you.
I think, CS, there's something you said which we need to correct. The fact that we have not talked about a fake fertilizer, and I actually want to refer to your document, touching on documents that are supposed to be provided to us to prove that what NCPB was distributing was okay. On page 9 of this document, the second paragraph, there is a paragraph that shows us from page 8 to 9. Now that paragraph, which starts with Riftawan Capital Kenya Limited. If you read that paragraph, it tells you that KEBS had all the documents. And these are documents marked as Annex 4. They are not here. You are saying you have provided the documents, but they are not here. So what are we dealing with? And these are the documents that are talking about the fake fertilizer and the agency that deliberately distributes the wrong product. Maybe you more, or you do rather deal with that?
No, Chairman, I would want to take note of all those issues, Chair, that have not been provided, so that they organize another bundle for you, so that you can be able to clear your minds, on what document has been made reference to. I think Chair, to be honest, this, and ask for indulgence for tomorrow, but
for Wednesday,
yeah, for Wednesday, so that because I was out of the country for the whole of last week, now I've come this morning from Meru directly to this meeting, so I'm also at times very neat in trying to check the annexes. So if they are missed out, this is an internal issue that I will have to deal with. But please, I would beg to be given time to supply you with the necessary material that is not what is alleged to be annexed, which is not, because there is nothing, Chairman, to hide. And still again, insist that open a conversation, then we can discuss. I think they don't have.
I think you may have to reorganize your documents, because even the court order you are mentioning on page 10 as Annex 4C is also not there. So there are quite a number of documents that are missing, and you need to give us a comprehensive report. But I think I would like to suggest this. Can I give members a chance to ask questions, and then you have the package, you know how to deal with it. So we are over to Honorable Kibagenti. Maybe you can take note.
Thank you, Chair. Mine, Bwana Waziri, is to ask why now? Why now? We have had the same companies doing these fertilizer tenders for the last 2-3 years, but this has never happened. This is the first time we are getting issues of the fake fertilizer. Now, given the backdrop of the harvest that we got last time due to the subsidized fertilizer, and we were almost food sufficient, do you think that maybe these are cartels that are coming back to sabotage our produce, to sabotage our harvest, so that they can import maize? Because why now? Last year it was a success story. The other year, as long as we have had subsidized fertilizer, it has been a success story. So why would we be talking about fake fertilizer now on the backdrop of a bumper harvest? Thank you.
Systematically now.
Now I can ask my question. One, I would like to know from the distribution how they do the checkpoints, and whether there is coding, whether they can be able to trace from the supplier and even to the farmer. So as the farmers complain, we can know what is genuine and not genuine. I would also want to know whether the ministry has a compensation, because farmers use their money to purchase. How do you compensate those farmers who got the fake? I don't know whether it's the fertilizer or soil enhancer. I'm not so sure what it is. The other one, is he able to name, Chair? Is he able to name, and that is very specific, the supplier whose products have been flagged? Is he able to name for Kenyans to know? And then what steps is the ministry planning to do? Once you name the supplier, are you blacklisting, or are you still going to do business with that supplier? And is it possible also for you to do a recommendation such that such a person who takes advantage of our innocent farmers will not be allowed to do any other supply in this country or do business with government? On your officers, I think I'd asked that question. What steps, if there are officers who didn't take the necessary steps, what steps are you taking on that officer, on the officers? And finally, on KEFIS, I've seen many shortcomings. What is you asking from this committee? If it's about the amendment of your acts, if it's about the staffing, we are the committee that is responsible on the budgeting and everything else. What are you asking from us? I think there are some staff I've seen, there are only 3 in the whole country. I think 1 in Kitale and 2 in Nairobi. So I would like to see a proper document from KEFIS on what they're asking from this committee. And finally, maybe our CS is on the local production. Have your team done a proper research on local production of fertilizers? Do we have to keep on importing? Do we have a plan? Because farmers will be here. We are now working on food security. Is it cheaper for us to do the production here? How did it cost? We have all the raw materials. What is your asking or your recommendation from this committee so that we can also be able to build Kenya and buy Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, over to Honorable Double L.
Thank you, Chair. And my question to the CS, it is evident that we have seen both the national and the county government distributing the subsidized fertilizer. So why the duplication of the same, and how can accountability be tracked at the 2 levels of government? The next question that I would ask is, why was SLDR International exempted from supplying fertilizer on consignment basis? Thank you.
Honorable Salasia, can you be preparing yours now?
Mine is on the issue of Kenya National Trading Corporation. You're all aware that the Ministry of Agriculture is well mandated to purchase the fertilizer. How did it come and arrive that you gave it that mandate to the Ministry of Trade under the National Trading? And if I may ask, who influenced it and under which interest? Because you can see, even if it means that you have to do, where are those experts because there must be some experts, like if it's the ministry, it's just like non-pharmaceuticals. You cannot just give it the mandate to anyone else to purchase. So unless maybe there was an interest in that business, and maybe if it's good, you should also tell the committee who advised you and under which influence. Then there is this point that why was a Kenya National Trading Company given the responsibility of processing payment for the subsidy component of the financial year 2022-2023 long range, when the money was budgeted under the State Department for Agriculture? How was that money accounted for? And maybe the last one that maybe I would wish to know, before this expose, when we were going around looking for the information for the sugar task force, we moved all around the country, and the report was very clear that the fertilizer that you are supplying was not good. Why did you just decided to keep quiet until today? Is when now you are trying to explain. It means that your experts are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. And then we have this one. How much did the NCPB charge as agency fee for each bag of GPC soil condition that was distributed by them? And if this thing was being done by 2022, then I've seen in your report, you are saying that you have come up with the policy in 2023. It's like it was like a scandal. Was it like a scandal just to get the money from Kenyans by just packaging the soil and selling to the Kenyans so that NCPB can get money to pay and maintain its whatever, pay its staff? Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, my question is very simple. Was the analysis conducted by KPIS on the GPC soil conditioner before its distribution began? Another one is the Kenyan's currency has gained against major currencies in the world. Was it the impact of this on the prices of fertilizer? Can I repeat it again? The Kenyan's currency has gained against the major currencies in the world. Was it the impact of this on the prices of fertilizers?
I think you can ask your questions before I ask mine.
Okay, Chair. There's Odinga, but let me.
Odinga, you have not introduced yourself.
Have you left me to the ministry, Chair? I'm Geoffrey Makoha Odinga, MP for Matayos, and member of the Agriculture and Livestock Committee.
You may ask your question now.
Thank you, Chair. I want to know from the PS, from the CS, from page 5 of his presentation, if Chiroma Fertilizer Limited, which is has supplied in every financial year, and Chiroma Fertilizer are one and the same company, or it's an error?
Okay, Jagon. Are you done? Odinga, we with you or you and I?
I'm proceeding, Chair. I also would like to ask the CS if this failure to provide data by the ministry on the number of farmers who are supplied with the fertilizer, and also by NCPB somewhere, failure to do that again, if this is something that should be entertained by a serious ministry. Failure to provide data. And we know data is very critical in anything that we should be doing to be able to justify and satisfy the Kenyan public. Then, why was the NCPB hesitant to allow the KEBs initially to enter into their stores and do the analysis. Initially that is what we were told here by KEBS, and then NCPB really denied that. They take a very long route writing letters, and that. Why would that happen in an issue that is so critical like this one? Thank you.
Okay, Chair. I have a few questions. I'd ask one, and I want to ask the CS. There has been a pronouncement by the ministry giving different signals. The CS says there is no fake fertilizer circulating, and the PS is withdrawing some fertilizer which is fake, like Kale Chemical, just the other day. We want you to appraise us of that, because we need to know what is the real position. Number two, in all these, farmers have actually, in all this drama of supply of fake fertilizer, some farmers have lost. And this is a common question that we need to answer before we move out of this committee room today. Who will compensate farmers who tilled the land, who bought certified seeds, who went to NCBB stores and bought these fake fertilizers? Who will compensate the farmer? Because that is what we want to know before we move out of this committee room today. And I know from the records, especially those that we sold through NCBB stores, the SPL Innovate fertilizer, the Kale Chemical fertilizer, we are able to trace and know how many farmers bought these fake fertilizers. We've been able to get reports from different government officials. Moses Kuria has pronounced himself of the number of fake fertilizer that we have. I had the PS also to talk about some numbers. I had also even the Deputy President gave a figure. We want to know the exact number of bags that are fake and that has been in circulation.
Okay, let me just try to wrap up a bit. First of all, there has been a hue and cry on the shortage of fertilizer. Many parts of the country did not receive their amounts in the adequate, quantities that they would consider for their planting season. So what formula does the ministry use to distribute the fertilizer to different parts of the country, and how has it worked over time? And is the fertilizer procured by the government sufficient to satisfy the needs of the Kenyans, or rather to cushion the difference? Let me also go back to the issue of local production. The language of local production has been in the air, and is something that we need to revisit. We are praying that soon we will not be confronted with a budgetary allocation for a local production facility. We would like the CS to give us the cost and benefit analysis of a local production of fertilizer. Do we have sufficient deposits of the raw materials? Can we actually produce at low cost, or can we benefit from local production when we know that we have serious deficit of rock phosphate in this country? Then the other issue that probably you need to mention is the money. Yes, you're rightfully saying that NCPB is not supported through Exchequer. We shall check that. But we would like to see how the money that NCPB has been receiving has also been utilized. We would like to see the audited accounts of NCPB. Then the other issue is the close monitoring that NCPB says it does. It does a close monitoring, inspection of fertilizers and testing of fertilizers. With this close monitoring, inspection and testing, you mean they could not know that